I'm Shelly Salas. I'm here interviewing Mr. Larry, one of our sellers. So, Mr. Larry, thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me.
Thank you for asking.
No problem, no problem. So, let's start off by you telling us a little bit about, I see your hat, so obviously you're in the military, or were. Can you share with us a little bit about your military experience?
21 years in the military, been a lot of places, meet a lot of nice people. Been around the world a lot.
Really?
Enjoyed it. 21 years was a long time, but it was well worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for your service, Mr. Larry.
Thank you so much.
Wow. As a veteran myself, I understand it, and I didn't do 21 years, so I can't even imagine. But thank you so much. That's a lot of time to give to our country.
Following my father's footsteps. He did 23 years, so I followed his footsteps.
Well,
it paid off for my family a whole lot. Yeah, kept me out of trouble.
Oh, look at that. Well, thank you so much for your service, Mr. Larry. Truly, truly. So, wanted to talk to Mr. Larry today because you're one of our sellers. Can you tell everyone out there your experience thus far with the Salas team?
I can sum that up very easily. It was painless, completely painless. The representative that came to my house, he sat down with my wife and myself. He covered everything that I needed to know, and anything I didn't need to know or ask him, he answered all the questions away in a calm manner. He made me feel like I was at home in my home, because he took me step by step of what I need to know. He said, if you have any problems, my number, you can call me anytime, 24 hours a day, I'll be at your call. He told me, he said, once he walked through my house, he said, your house is in good shape. It's not going to be on the market long. And he was right, because the first time I put it on the market was back in, I believe it was March. And my daughter told me that when she went online, it had over 100 looks and 71 saves at one time.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of inquiries. And from the day I put it on the market, I think it was 2 days later, we just started getting texts. You got an appointment for this group to come through. And in about 5 days, I think we had over 14 to 15 people come through my house.
Look at that.
And it sold in 7 days. The only problem was that we didn't think it was going to sell that fast, so we weren't ready. The people who wanted to buy it at first said that we wanted you out in 30 days. And that was a no-go for my wife. Because she didn't think it was going to sell that fast. We were unprepared, totally.
Oh, goodness. So let me make sure that I'm understanding you correctly, Mr. Larry. So we provided so much demand. We created so much demand for your property that we sold it so quickly. You guys were not prepared to move out.
Not at all. We hadn't even started packing. We hadn't got no boxes, no storage, or anything.
Now, isn't that an amazing problem to have, guys? If you were putting your house on the market, wouldn't you love to have Mr. Larry's problem instead of the other way around, right? Typically it happens, right, Mr. Larry? And I think you mentioned this to me, that you have several neighbors on your street that have had their house for sale for a while and it's not selling. And yet here we are, we put your house on the market and we had the opposite problem, right? We go along and we do all of our marketing, which we have a lot of marketing that we bring to the table. And we got your house sold, and you, the homeowner, were not prepared.
We weren't prepared. So I had to call my agent and say, look, man, we got to take it off the market because we're not ready to move. He says, not a problem, Mr. Larry. He said, when you want to put it? I said, well, right now I'm going to Milwaukee the 1st of July. That was 2 months later. And I said, could you put it back on the market once we leave here so the house will be open for somebody to look at it? So we put it back on the market, I want to say the 2nd of July. We were bit to Milwaukee, stayed up there a week, and came back. And by the time we made it back a week later, that house was sold. In fact, we had 2 people who wanted to buy my house at the same time.
Look at that, Mr. Larry. That's amazing, right? That is super awesome.
We had 2 people, and my agent kept me informed. He said, look, this is what we're going to do. Don't worry about it. We'll take care of everything. And then he called. I went back to work. Since I work out of town, he called me when I was back at work. He said, look, I got 2 people who want to buy your house. We'll take care of it. The next day, he said, well, one outbid the other. So your house is sold. And then I said, well, what else we got to do? He said, don't worry about it. I got your stuff for you. He gave me a checklist of all the paperwork that I needed. He gave me ample time. It was in about a week. He says, everything's done. And I didn't have to do any legwork.
Look at
All I
that.
do is go through my files, get the paperwork I needed, send it to him, and he took care of everything. I didn't have to worry about who I need to talk to or what I need to do, because he gave me a checklist that gave me step by step of what I need to do to get out of my home.
So you didn't feel lost throughout the process. We kept you informed. We provided a lot of demand for your property, got you in multiple offers, got your home under contract really quickly. And again, you didn't feel lost throughout the process, right?
I felt lost that it sold fast again. And this time they said, well, this was at the beginning. We found out that it sold right around the middle of July. All the paper was done by the end of July, the 1st of August, and he would say, well, this is when they want to move in. This is what you need to do as far as pack up.
Look at that.
And that was it. So right now, all I'm doing is packing everything up and getting ready to get out of that house. In about 2 weeks, I'll be out of it.
So are you happy with the services that we
Oh,
provided?
it was kind of shocking. I've seen people on the streets where I live at.
Maybe you need to let them know who sold your house, Mr. Larry, right? So guys, here you are. You're hearing it from our seller right here. Would you recommend us, Mr. Larry, to
Automatically, definitely, because I told everybody when I was in Milwaukee, I told my sister that I was selling the home and what agency I was going through, and she looked you guys up. She said, they're worldwide. They're worldwide. She said, are they expensive? I said, no expensive than anybody else, but they just like my insurance I have. I've been with Allstate 20 some odd years. You might pay a little bit more, but it's a peace of mind. You ain't got to worry about doing any legwork. Once you tell him what you needed, we discussed what I wanted to sell it for. He agreed with that. He said, it's gonna sell for more of that. I'm gonna let you know right up front. It's gonna sell for more of that. But we wanna keep it baseline price so you don't sell yourself out the market. And we didn't, and he was there every step of the way. I would tell anybody, come to you guys, because it takes the legwork out.
Thank you.
And everybody is so friendly. I mean, my agent is on leave right now. I think he's on a little vacation.
He's on a
and
little
he still calls me, asks me, do you need anything? How's everything going? We've talked, this week we've talked